The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game like no other before. It tried to switch up the formula by adding more open world elements inspired from other games, with Nintendo taking a risk just by changing up so much of the formula and delaying it so much that it would come out on the Switch had put a lot of pressure on the game. Do you need proof? Just look at what they showed at the E3 pre-show. All Zelda. They clearly had all their time and confidence in the Zelda if that was really all they showed. While it was ridiculous that they did this, when the Switch was announced it got a lot of exposure along with Zelda since it was the only main Nintendo IP at the time. And let's not avoid anything, the game did well, I mean really well. Like the highest rated game ever, well. So yeah, the game did good, but is it well suited in the casual field with its big adventuring things? Let's find out in this episode of A Casual's Perspective. When starting up the game, you wake up from a nap, walk outside, and boom, Breath of the Zelda. So you're just thrown into the world and the rest is up to you. Okay Ryan, that is pretty easy to figure out, but why is this important? Okay, well let's take Skyward Sword for example. I would rather start fighting monsters right away than wake up from 2 nightmares, go and find my bird, and then do some story stuff just to start fighting some stupid plants. Man, that's a pretty big difference, isn't it? They want to go back to their roots and just throw you in and have some fun. And don't get me wrong, Skyward Sword is a great game, even though I haven't finished it, but I would much rather start off the game by fighting moblins than fight my first moblin after a good hour or 2 in the game. Case in point, I like the way they handled starting off the game and it makes you feel independent. So after you start the game, you are thrown into a tutorial-esque part of the land that makes you go through 4 mini dungeons called shrines that introduce all things that you'll be using for the rest of your adventure. It gives you a sense of what you'll be put up against in the future. Also, may I say how great they introduce the mechanics in the game, and the way they do that is, well, they don't. One of the shrines is on top of a cold mountain, which is, well, cold. It notifies you that it is cold and you're gonna lose health if you don't do anything about it. And it forces you to do one of 3 things. 1. Go for the shrine and just take the risk. 2. Cook up some spicy food to warm you up, I'm not sure how it works either. Or 3. Get some warm clothes from the old man because it rewards you for exploring out and going through someone's home. It gives you a way of finding out what you would do in these different situations, and I love it. So fast forward after you do all the shrines. The old man then reveals who he is and he gives you a parasail. Then it is up to you where you go next. You can go anywhere. You could even go to the final boss and attempt to beat the game in just a few hours. But that's no fun. Enjoy the world and invest your time into it. At the time of recording this, I'm ready to face Ganon by far. But whenever I think about facing him, I change my mind to do more side quests, shrines, anything else that prolongs me from ending the game. It confuses me with how much time I've put into this game and I don't even want to finish it. I don't get it, and that's just one of the things that the game does to you. While playing Zelda, I realized how much they went back on the hand holding. Other than a few control pop-ups and Zelda guiding you to a main quest, this game really wants you to figure things out for yourself. There are plenty of moments in this game that I will forever remember because of how tough or how fun it was to figure out something I didn't know about the game. One of the memories I'll remember was figuring out how to shield surf. Once I saw Link flip onto the shield, I got excited to travel downhill and see what could happen. That was one of the many memories I've had playing the game, and it just goes to show that this game is really satisfying. I also really enjoyed how you can find random things out in the wild. Things from shrines, monster outposts, and even bosses show up all over the place. It also gives you good rewards for seeing all these things. All this just really helps me get more and more invested into the world. And I recommend that you don't use the internet for help unless you really need it, because it'll ruin the experience for you. As a person who has just gotten into Zelda, I could say that this is an amazing game and that I personally think could be an easy system seller for the Switch. The game has gotten good reviews for a reason, and I think it is one of, if not the best Zelda game out on the market. I don't care how you get it, just get it for anything. Wii U, Switch, I don't care. But get this game eventually because you will not regret getting it. With that in mind, I think anyone can pick up this game and have an extraordinary experience. Just look at everyone putting more than 100 hours into this game. Case in point, this game can satisfy anyone that plays it with the great amount of content it has. If you don't have this game, get it. This game gets my casual rating of, get it.